Hello, campus. Welcome to week 1 of the course. I'm excited to have you. This week, we'll be talking about something really awesome, something extraordinary HTML, the building block of every website in existence today. No matter how you are developing your website, whether you're developing it using vanilla, what I mean by vanilla is raw HTML and CSS, or you are developing it using a framework like React.js, Next.js, or Angular, you are going to need to understand HTML very well. HTML is the pinnacle of website development. Every website has to start with HTML. Today we'll be talking about something I find very fascinating: bricks, rooms, and houses. Let me tell you something really fun. A website is no different from a building. Look at the house you are currently living on and imagine it to be a website. This week, I want to open your mind to imagination. I want you to be very creative. I want you to be different from an ordinary website developer. I want you to think and I want you to open your imagination as we go deep and deeper into this bootcamp. Now, the chapter we'll be talking about today: bricks, rooms, and houses. You might be thinking, we are dealing with website development. What business do we have with bricks, rooms, and houses? Actually, it is very, very important for you to learn this analogy. So let's get straight into it. Now, bricks, rooms, and houses. Have you heard of the tallest building in the world? The tallest building in the world is called the Burj Khalifa. The Burj Khalifa has 163 floors. Now, let's tear that building apart. Not literally, of course. At Monagri, we have a strong belief that website development is a work of art. That is why we want to support developers. Looking at the Burj Khalifa from a composition perspective, it starts with a single brick. Then a couple of bricks come together to form a room, and a couple of rooms come together to make the legendary 163 floor building. Now, look at the Burj Khalifa, or look at the room you are in right now. If you look at the floor of your room, you realize that the wall of your room, you realize that everything is just made of bricks put on top of each other. And then your room combined with other people's room form the house. That is what we are looking at today in website development. Every website can be imagined to be an house. Now, we are not going to be talking about CSS this week, but I just want to give you a snapshot of what that looks like. Have you ever seen a building that was just recently completed, that has not been painted or has not been styled with concrete or anything? You will realize that though the building may look good a little bit, it is still basic. I mean, it is just built with bricks and everything, but until you paint it, it's not really that very attractive. That's the difference between HTML and CSS. HTML will help you build the house, but CSS will help you beautify it. Now, to be a successful website developer, it is essential that you look at things from this perspective of brick, rooms, and houses. Be imaginative. I have seen many people that say they are web developers, but all they do is to copy templates online. That's not art. We believe that website development is a work of art. While I don't condemn getting inspiration online, sometimes I do get inspiration online. Imagine how the world would be if everyone copied templates online. It would be so boring. We don't just want to teach you web development, we want to teach you art. So don't think about this as just a programming class. It's an art class. At Monagri, we want the best of the best devs, and only artistic dev meets this requirement. Imagination is more important than knowledge, so open your mind. As we go deeper into this course, I want you to open your mind to me. Open your mind to this course. Be imaginative. Don't just try to copy what has been done. Create something from your mind, because at the end of this bootcamp, we want to get only the creative developers. We want to get those that are really, really, really creative when it comes to website development. And I want that to be you. So please, don't just learn this bootcamp to just learn to develop website development. Open your mind and be very creative with it. Website development is no different from a building construction. Let's build footer. Yes. Alright, I'm going to need to apologize to you guys, but let's do it this way. Okay. All right. So I'm going to keep on speaking because actually there's supposed to be like a structure of footer right there. All right. So let's just continue anyway. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It is the building block of every website. Whether you're building a website using raw HTML, that is vanilla HTML, whenever you hear vanilla anything, it means raw that thing, or frameworks like React.js, Angular, or Flutter, the compiled version of your website will always be in HTML. This is because browsers can only understand HTML. HTML is special as it is not like other language. It is very simple and you can even write it anywhere. You can write it in a text editor like Notepad, or you can write it in VS Code. It doesn't matter, just follow the rules. Now, just as a bricklayer will look at the design above, we will go into that design now and build footer. Your browser will look at your HTML file and build your website. This happens every time you load the page. Now, stay with me, please. Now, HTML, an HTML code is going to be in a file called .html, something.html. When you send that something.html to your browser, the browser will look at it and use it to build your website in real time. Let me show you what we are dealing with in terms of footer today. Alright, thank you guys. So let's assume we are building footer from scratch. Let's assume we are building footer. Let's assume this box is the whole of footer. Now let's assume, of course, we have the security post here, and then we have, let's assume we have the schools all aligned like this. One school, another school, another school, another school. Then let's assume this very first school is the School of Engineering, and inside it we have some departments like this. Some departments. We have some departments, and inside this school too we have some departments, and inside this school we have some departments, and inside this school we have some departments. Right? You get that structure. Please keep this in your mind. The very first one is the footer, which is this one. The very first one is footer. Sorry. Which is this one. And then we have the security post here. And then we have School of Engineering and Engineering Technology. Let's call that SEAT. School of Engineering and Engineering Technology. SEAT. Okay. And then we have other schools too. And then, of course, this is like a department. Inside the School of Engineering, we have a department called EEE, the Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering. I think you get the picture now. So, if you're building a website, before you go ahead to build your website, you need to imagine how the website is going to be. You need to imagine the structure of the website before you go straight into building the website. All right, so let's just keep that the way it is. All right. So, yes, just as a bricklayer will look at the design above and build footer, which is the design we went to do, your browser will look at your HTML file and build your website. This happens every time you load the page. Now, what we have done then is to build a structure of footer, a basic structure of footer for an architect to look at and say, okay, this is what they want me to do. They want me to put the security post here, to put engineering, to put electrical engineering, to put SEMS, to put SOS, and so on and so forth. So you can go online and look at the map of footer or the overview, area view of footer to understand what I'm talking about. But if you are in footer, you already understand what I'm talking about. Your HTML file will build your website every time. Yeah. Let's assume the footer layout above is a website, and let's write an HTML program for it. HTML represents the rooms with something called tags. So wherever there is a room, we represent it with a tag. But before we go into all that, let's understand what tags are. Tags are the building block of HTML. They usually start with this, this, this they usually start with this and end with this. Tags tell the browser, that is the bricklayer. Now, stay with me now. We are trying to synonymize we are trying to synonymize website development with building a house. So tags tell the browser, which is the bricklayer in this case, what to build and how to build it. The general structure of a tag is something like this. Now ignore the name, anything you see inside curly brackets as from now on. Ignore it, it's not part of the actual code. I'm just trying to tell you what should be inside that curly bracket. Something like this or something like this. Now the name of a tag can be anything from an alphabet to your name. But browsers recognize some special tags. When I say special tags, for example, this tag can be Daniel or Simi or George or Ebube or any person name actually. It can also be an alphabet, but there are some special name of tags that browser already recognize. We are going to go into those special tags in the next chapter. Now, just as the bricklayer will recognize the first structure in our footer structure to our footer building structure to be the security building, you wouldn't design a toilet as a room, right? So what I'm trying to explain here to you is that we have special tags in HTML that serve special purpose. Now, if you have a building like the building you're in right now, when the bricklayer was building that building, they probably gave him a layout, and then he saw some small spaces that he knew that is going to be toilets that is probably there, or a restroom or whatever it is that is probably there. Now, you see, the bricklayer will not go ahead and build that toilet to look like a room, of course. That's going to be quite irregular. So what this is trying to tell us is that while you can call your tag anything, it is better to use the special tags that we have in HTML. I'm going to give you a list of all the special tags that we have in HTML. It's better to use this tag because the bricklayer will recognize those tags. I mean the browser will recognize this tag and build the website the way you want it to be. Now, tags may be classified into two tags. We have classified tags into two types. We have the open close tag. These are tags that have both the open tag and the close tag. For example, something like this. The name of this tag is what? Can you guess? What's the name of this tag? Is div, D-I-V is the name of the tag. So it will have an open tag and it will have a close tag, and then there will be something written inside it. We'll get to that something later on. Like I said, tags can be anything from from an alphabet to your name. The second one we have here is Daniel, which is like open tag my name, and then close tag my name, and then there's something inside. Now notice that there's something right here. There's something right here, like a slant stuff that is usually at the somewhere around the beginning of the closing tag. It is very important for you to note that. Okay. Now it's very important for you to note that. Okay, So we also have another type of tags called single tags. Unlike this particular tag, this tag do not have a closing tag. For example, this tag here, this is an example. You can see that there is no slant at all here. Closing tag, only the opening tag. Now, tags have special things called properties. The properties tell the browser how they should be built when it's building the website. For instance, a bricklayer will be told by an engineer that the building should be painted yellow. That's a property of the building. So if the bricklayer is building something and he looks at the toilet and he say, okay, they told him that the toilet should be this wide and this big, then he will build it exactly how it is in the structure. That's what properties do. Properties are usually attached to your tags, and they will tell the browser how to build that particular tag and how to make it look like. For example, if you look at this example I've written here, this is where you put your property inside the opening tag. That's where you put your properties. Now, properties are name value pairs. They have a name and they have a value. The name we already know. The value is what we will now provide. For example of properties include color, height, width. Each property must have a name and you will specify the value of that name. Something like this. The property name will be here and the property value will probably be inside this this double quotes. Yeah. So let's continue. For example, look at this property called color. I'm defining this property called colored and I'm providing it with a value called red. I can decide to put blue there or yellow or whatever it is. It will tell the browser, who is the bricklayer in this case, to paint the tag what? Red. So one more thing is that different tags have different kinds of property. Some tags may have the color property while others will have the height and width property. Some of them may not even have the color property. So it depends on the tag you are currently dealing with. Now, let's move on to indentation. Just a second, please. Let's move on to indentation. Now, I want you to pay optimum attention to this whole indentation thing because it is very important. A badly indented code can be very frustrating to read by other developers. Indentation is simply the space you leave before you start a new line. Visual Studio Code, the editor we are using, the IDE, will usually add the indentation automatically as you type. But please, if it doesn't add it with the tab. For example, look at the paragraph that we are currently in. You will notice that there is a space before we start the paragraph. That space is what you call indentation. Now, indentation also varies as you go along the code. I will explain it in the next heading. Now look at this, parent and child. One more thing we should take note before we start coding is that tags can be a parent and it can also be a child. The same way the School of Engineering, remember our picture stuff, right? I don't think we need to go straight to it. You can reverse this video because I can't go to it right now. That picture of footer we drew, that structure of footer we drew. Now you notice that School of Engineering is inside footer and EEE is inside seat. Let me go to it. Okay, that is something. I don't really have it on point, but still I need to load it so that you guys will be able to see it. Now look at this. You'll see that the footer structure is here, the security port is here, the School of Engineering is here, EEE is here. Let's assume this particular building is the School of Earth and Mineral Science. This building here. Now you will notice that footer is the parent of all of them. I'm trying to explain what parent and child mean. Security building is a child of footer. Seat, which is this big box here, is a child of footer. EEE is a child of seat. But SEMS, right, is not a child of seat. You will notice that this box here, SEMS is a child of footer. So you need to be able to differentiate between parent and child when you are dealing with this kind of things. So I'll explain more on that. Don't worry, we'll get to it. All right then. Okay. All right. So we'll see that School of Engineering is a child of FUTA and FUTA is a child of SEET. Now let's get to it. Assume each building in our FUTA structure is a tag. The tag being the name of the building. Our HTML file will look like this. Look at the very first tag we wrote, FUTA. Now you need to notice that footer has an opening tag, is an open close tag, and it also have what? A closing tag. Now footer is the main structure, like the main parent of the whole school, the whole website in this case. So it will be the one to like be the one that encloses every other thing. Then here we have designed footer to have what? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 children. You look at the first child, the security building. You look at the second child, School of Engineering. You look at the third child, School of Sciences. You look at the fourth child, SEMS, School of Earth and Mineral Science. But notice something. Before we wrote any of the major child, there is a space we left. That space is what you call indentation. Now let's go to seat. You look at seat, School of Engineering and Engineering Technology. He has 4 children. EEE, ICT, MEE, AG. Before we wrote his children, we did what? We left an indentation, a space before we wrote it. You will see that EEE, ICT, MEE, AG is a child of SEET. Is a child of SEET. And FST, EWM, FAT is a child of SOS. And then MCS is a child of SEMS. That's how parent is a child of SEMS. That's how parent and child analogy works. So, first, let's see the parents and the children. He is a child of SEET. Footer is a parent of SEET. Right? But FST is not a child of SEET. I mean, look at it. FST is a child of SOS, but is not a child of SEET. And however, EWM is a child of footer. Let's see. EWM is a child of footer. I mean, since it's under footer, it's a child of footer. Well, it might not be his child. We might call it his grandchild, but it's still a child of footer. Also, note the indentation as we move from parent to child to grandchild. So please don't mess up your indentation. But I'm going to stop here for now. I hope you guys have been able to understand this. The whole purpose of this is just to introduce you to tags, introduce you to indentation, and introduce you to the parent-child analogy. And I want you to start believing, before we go to the next set of chapters, that an HTML stuff is just rooms, bricks, rooms, and houses. If you can relate website development with this concept of building a house, you will do just fine. Thank you very much. I'm going to close this chapter right here. Daniel, out.